Hi everyone, it's Becky here. So welcome to another new video on my YouTube channel. And spring is in the air. I'm on the bus and then the SkyTrain to Vancouver again. And so first of all, we're getting off at Main Street Science World Station, going down the escalator and yeah, tap out. And here I'm waiting for a little shuttle bus to take me to Yaletown. And here it comes. It's bus number 23. This little shuttle bus is kind of like a tour bus going through Chinatown, Vancouver. And I love sightseeing, riding on the bus. And I filmed my very first outdoor YouTube video at that Blends Coffee 3 years ago. And here we are, arriving in the Yaletown area of downtown Vancouver. So right beside the Yaletown Roundhouse SkyTrain station, there's a Starbucks. And this cafe is kind of different, very decent compared to most other cafes because it has this lovely rustic interior of floorboards and brick walls. So I ordered a cup of London Fog tea latte, a little breakfast sandwich, and some mini pancakes. Yeah, and here is the beautiful interior in front of me. And here I'm bathing in the sunshine, sipping my cup of tea latte. Now I'm ready to sketch my little breakfast sandwich, starting at 11:25 in the morning. It will take me about 10 minutes to draw and paint. Yeah, before the food and drink gets cold. Now I'm starting to draw the organic contour outline of the little burger shape. The piece of ham tucked in the middle, and the egg. Yeah, in the next layer. And now drawing the round contour outline of the bun on the very bottom. Now I'm ready to add these poppy seeds and sesame seeds and a bit of wrinkles on the surface. So when we order the same item, every time it always has like a unique terrain from the previous times, always. Because you can't find two things in a world that looks exactly the same. Okay, so the drawing of my breakfast sandwich is done. It's 11:27. Took me 3 minutes to draw that. And now I'm ready to draw my cup. Starting with the ellipse, the thickness of the cylindrical section, the rings, and the body part, the cardboard sleeve, which is also a cylinder shape, the zigzag lines, and the bottom part of the cup's body. Now starting to doodle the logo of Starbucks. So the logo of Starbucks, I think it's a double-tailed mermaid called Siren from the ancient Greek mythology. Now I'm just doodling those letters on the body of the cup and then getting the shallow feel of the lid area, the sipping hole in, accentuate the bases, and that's it for the drawing part. I think it took me about 6 minutes to draw these two things. Now I'm getting the Mungyo watercolor palette ready, and I'm going to start painting with my large tip Holbein Water Brush for the first layer. Just wetting these areas with a little clear water, grabbing yellow ochre and mix a little bit of orange into it and dilute this color with a lot of water. For the first layer, I like to keep it very gentle. I mixed yellow ochre with Van Dyke brown for the sleeve of the coffee cup. Now I'm mixing orange with red brown for the second layer, wet into moist, for the little bagel bun. Yeah. And grabbing some permanent red diluted with a lot of water to get this pink color for the slice of ham, and more intense red brown for the crispy edge of the ham. and using a tiny bit of leftover gray to shade the egg white area. Now I'm using pretty much pure burnt sienna to paint the third layer for the bagel bun, which is a pretty dominating tone on the surface of the bagel. So as you can see, the wet into moist technique is giving a really nice blending effect. If you're doing wet in wet, it might be causing like flooding of two colors. So wait for the previous layer to dry off a little bit. From wet to moist is a better time to paint your next layer if you want to create these soft yet strong blendings of color values. Yeah, so the brown is quite strong on there and not fading off because the previous layer is not too wet. Mixing cobalt blue with permanent violet to boldly shade the right side of the cup. Yeah, and for the lid area as well, but a bit more gently. The light source comes from the left, so the right side is shaded. And I like to use blue violet to shade white stuff. And grabbing some Viridian green to paint these stripes for the Starbucks logo, which is a nice cool color to contrast with all the yellows and browns. And adding a little bit of shading using slight bit of leftover brown and gray to shade the sleeve as well, so it's consistent. And that's very much it. I know the right time to stop and not overwork on these things. Now I'm painting the shadow by using the mix of cobalt blue and permanent violet, 2 tones of the gray. The second layer is very intense, wrapping around the bottom edges. And that's it. Here's the look of my finished sketch of my London fog latte and breakfast sandwich. And it took me about 10 to 12 minutes. Yeah, and my little sandwich is still warm. And now I'm getting ready to sketch the barista and the counter and the brick wall area. So starting with a very quick pencil draft, just to show you my visualization of what to include and what not to include. So yeah, the sections of brick wall behind, the counter on the bottom, the barista standing behind the counter, and I want to include the lady working on her laptop on the left. Okay, so now I'm ready to draw the lady in the meeting on her laptop before she's leaving. That could happen anytime. Starting with the shape of her hair and the profile view of her face, the back and the arm, the back of the chair and the chair next to her, her bag on the seat of the next chair, and her leg bending on this tall chair. Yeah, and getting all of these legs and little frames on the bottom part of the chair. There are lots of overlappings. So when we're doing urban sketching, it's completely fine to go loose and have some overlapping lines. And I love using these loose and not so perfect lines to express my seeing very spontaneously without stressing on being perfect. And I just drew her cup of coffee, her laptop, and the faucet for serving beer. And I drew just the countertop and suggesting the height of the counter, the base of the counter, and then using these quick, loose vertical lines to suggest the wooden planks on the exterior of the counter. And these lines are also forming a nice backdrop for the food and drink. Yeah, which happens without me planning it. Now I'm drawing this iPad or another tablet for people to order and pay. And this large tray holding straws, spoons, and other stuff and this box holding the coffee cup lids, some other boxes overlapping. Okay, so I think that's very much it for the foreground area. Now I'm ready to draw the window frames and these sections of brick walls in between the windows. And here I'm drawing like a hanging shelf with metallic brackets. And yeah, these layers of their merchandise items like coffee beans and tea boxes. Now I'm starting to draw these glass panels for this large window here behind the lady on her laptop, and accentuate partially on these bars of window frames. Yeah, so there really pops with a bit of accentuation, and adding yet 2 more panels behind the floating shelf. Now I'm starting to draw the barista guy with the shape of his hair and his big ear, eyeglasses. Okay, so he moved around and I can't see him anymore, so I just want to draw the menu board right behind him. And then I want to draw another floating shelf on the same horizontal line with a floating shelf there on the left. Now he comes back to very much the same position, adding the nose, the smile, the chin, and the shape of his face, eyes looking down, and then drawing his shoulders, arms, very busy, yeah. So I found the baristas working at Starbucks to be working way faster or efficient compared to other cafes. Okay, now drawing these miscellaneous items on the back counter. And adding some small details, finishing the apron for the barista guy and adding some steam around him. I think he was making a cup of espresso. And drawing another window, foreshortened, and 2 more menu boards advertising their specialty drinks of the season. And now for the brick pattern, as you can see, I'm using much gentle and looser, quick lines, horizontal, and then these much shorter vertical segments to depict the bricks. And I don't want to spend way too much time refining those brick shapes. Okay, and then another section and more windows on the far right. And then summarizing the brick pattern here for this wall segment. And today I just want to be chill and draw a little looser compared to my usual style. Yeah, and I think it's a bit more meaningful spending a little less time on these cafe sketches because I don't want to sit down here for too long, 2 hours. It's a bit too long to sit at a cafe. It can get very busy. Now I'm drawing these other miscellaneous items like stir sticks, straws, and some paper cups. Adding some final lines. Accentuate the counter edge so it's really coming forward. Now I just want to even loosely summarize the building outside the window on the other side of the street. Just simplifying these windows into loose light blocks of squares, the awning of another bakery. And yeah, I think that's already got an impression of another building there. Same for this window. That's it. Here's a look of my finished line work. I think it took me about 25 to 30 minutes to draw. Okay, now I'm ready to have fun painting watercolors again. I think I'm going to start with the brick wall areas. Starting with a very mellow or super diluted yellow ochre. Same for the wooden area of the counter. So the beginning of a painting process Should be very relaxing and chill. Just our first impressions of the lightest tones that we see. So no shading in the beginning. Just try to see and feel the lightest tones. Now, I'm trying to add on the mid-tones now, which is orange brown for the terracotta bricks, which is a mix of orange, red brown, and burnt sienna. And just using these bold and choppy brush marks to get these different color definitions of terracottas in. And the wooden counter, I think, contains a higher ratio of burnt sienna compared to the bricks. The bricks are very orangey. So for the wooden slices, I'm playing with burnt sienna, a little bit of orange, and mixing permanent violet into burnt sienna to get a charming shade of brown. And just playing with the different ratios of each color. Every brush mark can be a different color definition and tone, controlling more or less water mixed into the paint. And just having fun dropping these colors on without intentionally blending too much. Yep, one brush mark at a time. And now I think I'm ready to add some little punches of darker browns on the brick walls. And also some more bold, solid punches of orange browns. Way less watery compared to the previous layer. And so we can easily establish a sense of depth by applying a heavier tone over a lighter tone. Yeah, so this time I'm giving myself a lot of freedom to loosen up with these brush marks. And when painting bricks, you don't have to color in each single block perfectly. Yeah, just a quick little punch of a color definition is fine. And the point is to get the color variation and also tonal variation in. And now I'm adding some warmer, bold punches of orange browns because the wall is mostly illuminated by the lamps. And I want the wall to be more inviting by using more warmer tones. Now I'm using cerulean blue and yellow green to mix turquoise to paint the glass windows. For the building on the other side of the street, using blue violet to shade the windows. So there's value and tonal transition for the shine of glass. And those are beautiful, cool colors to contrast with the brick and the wooden counter. And then painting these people's skin color very quickly using orange and red mix. There was a lot of water. Painting the counter base and top with leftover blue violet. Warm yellow for the menus. Some more cold blue violet to shade the view outside. Another layer of stronger blue violet to shade the base of the counter. And then grabbing some leftover green to paint the vintage window frames. So I think this building is maybe like a heritage building. Yeah, so as you can see, these windows and the brick walls are very old-fashioned. And I'm also keeping the tones of colors outside the windows relatively light, so they're not coming forward to compete with the interior colors. And using green to paint the apron for the barista, which really pops from the warm colors. And then, yeah, just using red, pink, and brown to paint these merchandise items, the coffee image on the menu, and shade the edge of the counter. Paint and shade these black and metallic objects at the same time. And keep adding on these shading grays on these mostly metallic objects. So shade the cheeks for these two people, yeah, so they have more life on the faces. Now, using just cerulean blue to paint the lady's outfit. I think both her shirt and pants were like sky blue, which is a happy coat color. And she had like a leather bag. And then keep using leftover brownish grays to paint the chairs super loosely. And the sketching process should feel something like, like a game that's fun and relaxing, not giving ourselves too much pressure to be perfect. And painting the wooden floorboard with olive brown and some little retouches here and there. Shade the lower part of the brick walls a little bit. Yeah, so this is my favorite kind of interior, super inspiring, with brick walls and a wooden counter. And I want to hunt for more cafe interiors like this. Final polish, and that's it. Here's the look of my finished on-location sketch. It was like a short 1-hour stay at Starbucks. And I had a lot of fun just to relax and loosen up on my lines and watercolor washes. And the barista guy, he's still hard at work. Okay, and here I am holding my sketchbook. Just like the way we share on Zoom. Okay, moving on, I'm strolling around the quayside of Yaletown. And I used to stroll around here before or after work. There are lots of preschools and daycares in this area, and it's a great memory of my working life before the pandemic as a casual preschool teacher. So a casual teacher is like a part-time on-call teacher that works part-time. And this red boat has been here for many years, since I could remember. So sitting down on the bench, it's still quite chilly, late in February. And then I spent another 15 minutes to paint. So that's like a quick 30-minute sketch. And today I'm going home by the Canada Line SkyTrain, which is more like a subway. And going through the Fraser River from this side in Richmond. Yeah, so the Fraser River is like the mother river of the Vancouver area. And then taking the bus home. Mount Baker is in the far distance. So see you around next time, everyone. Take care.